Welcome everyone to the Spring 2020 Career Readiness Workshop Series Professional Conference and Career Fair Preparation. I know that we had created this workshop with the intent of there being on-campus events and also campus in-person events, and so we tailored it a little bit, so it's more of a virtual type of preparation, but we will give you a couple of snippets of things that you can do in the in-person. If we do have an in-person event in the future, we'll give you some ideas of what you can do for those events as well. So again, like I mentioned in the beginning, my name is Denise Flores. I'm one of the career counselors from the Career Center. There's my email there. You can find our PowerPoint presentation on our website, and I'll enter that link in a second into the chat so you can access the PowerPoint. And then I'll go ahead and let John introduce himself.
Great. Hello, everyone. John Paul Hernandez. I'm the Employer Relations Specialist at Cal State San Bernardino. Happy to be here today.
Here's a bit of an overview, and this is more so based off of what we have previously created for you all. We're hoping that you get this information to help you learn the different ways in which you can prepare to attend a professional conference or a career fair or a networking event, and show you some ways where you can effectively communicate your skills and accomplishments and goals, and then also show you how you can prepare. Also show you how you can follow up with employers and professionals in your field of interest. And John, if you want to touch on that one.
Great. So agenda for today, we're going to talk about preparing for the virtual fairs and conferences. Obviously, with COVID going on right now, we've totally pivoted now to virtual events. However, you'll find that a lot of the same tips that we'll have will be for in-person as well as virtual type of events. During the event, we're going to teach you how to maximize your time. We're also going to talk about developing an elevator pitch. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry, we're going to go ahead and go through that. We're also going to talk about leaving a good impression. How do you follow up for an event, both in person and virtual? And then we'll wrap it up by doing a Q&A. Great. So preparing for the fair or a conference, and of course, we're going to really focus on the virtual aspect of things. It's all about researching, applying. Usually you know who these employers are beforehand, so we would definitely want to do our research and go ahead and get ahead of the game, turn meet and greets into interviews. First of all, we're going to start off with registering and Handshake. Everyone should be familiar with Handshake. That's where we have all our events and jobs. Got some background sound there. Let's see here. Okay, great. Handshake is where all of our events will be uploaded and updated. There, you should be able to also have an option to update your resume for certain events. You want to go ahead and take advantage of that. We're highlighting our 2020 Spring Virtual Career Fair for all colleges of study that will be taking place on May 28th, Thursday. And this will be via Zoom. So we're all familiar with Zoom. We're all on here now. And it'll be from 9 to 4 p.m. And what that looks like is a series of breakout sessions with employers where you'll have a chance to hear about their companies, and then also schedule one-on-one either information sessions or interviews with them as well. So basically a mini virtual career fair. One of the top things to do is review the list of employers and then go ahead and conduct your research of those companies, especially the ones that you want to interact with. You're going to do this multiple ways: LinkedIn, Google, company websites, articles, and of course your career advisor. These employers that are participating, remember, are employer partners of ours. So we may have a little extra insight that we can give you if you go ahead and begin preparing well before the event. Reviewing the open job opportunities for each company, and then going ahead and identifying which ones you qualify for and are interested in. There are several different ways to do a virtual career fair. The Zoom mini fair that we're having is just one. There are other virtual career fairs that you may see in the future that actually have software where you can see virtual booths. A lot of times they'll post jobs weeks in advance of the actual live date of the fair. So this is a great advantage for you to go in, apply to those jobs, and now instead of just speaking to your interest of that job, you can actually tell that recruiter, hey, I've applied to this job, I qualify. Kind of turn that first meet and greet into an interview. Other opportunity is to target your resume and apply for those jobs with the company that you want to discuss with the recruiter, but also tailor that resume with maybe the assistance of a career advisor is another great tip. And then again, LinkedIn is going to be your best friend, and go ahead and follow the company as well on their LinkedIn. Now I want to go ahead and talk about creating a folder for each company you apply to. This is just to keep you organized. The great advantage that you have of being on a virtual career fair, whatever platform it is that you're sitting at your computer and you can multitask. You can have a folder, you can save tailored resumes that you can speak to. You always want to include the job title, the job ID number. That's one thing recruiters will ask you for. Also, maybe even a notepad so you can add any specific notes of that discussion that you have with the recruiter. That way you can use it later also for the follow-up. Again, prioritizing which ones you're most interested in. Many career fairs usually have at least a minimum of 20 employers that you may be able to speak with. Also, having a general plan going into it. And again, working with your career advisor very closely will help you get ahead of this. And then employers also have the opportunity to sign up for events up till the day of. So I always recommend going in the day before or just several times leading up to the event to see what's new and who's joined. Denise, if there's any questions in the chat, you can go and let me know. I can't visit the chat right now, but go ahead and if there's anything.
Yeah, I don't see anything right now. And John, if I have my mic muted, and I'll keep it muted. And then when a slide comes up, I'll unmute myself for some of the slides that I can help assist you with.
Awesome, great. So here we're going to talk about and really relate it to the Zoom mini career fair that's coming up. And what that career fair is going to look like is a series of virtual information sessions followed by one-on-one virtual chats. So you'll be logging into a Zoom similar to this. The employer will go ahead and have a PowerPoint doing a deep dive into the company, into positions, into what their best practices and what they're looking for. And what you want to do is go ahead and plan to attend for the entirety of the presentation if possible. But another bonus of doing this online is we're going to go ahead and record that information portion. So let's say you can't attend the day of the event, you still want to register for the virtual fair and then check out the recording that will be sent out soon after. So you can go ahead and review what the information portion was. Again, taking notes, asking questions, and then we're always going to follow the discussion with a Q&A portion where you'll actually be able to ask questions via chat. So as the presentation is going, I always recommend asking those questions as they come up in the chat portion because we can go ahead and read that and go back to it at the end if it's not answered. So following that info session, we're going to go ahead and have a link available for you to sign up for a scheduled one-on-one virtual chat. And what that can be is it could be an informational session or it could be a full-on interview if you had applied for a position or are about to apply and want to take it to that next step. The recruiters, they usually allow a time of anywhere between 5 and 20 minutes. Just kind of depends on how in depth or if it's an interview, how long it's going to take. Also, you want to go ahead and have any applications IDs, again, as mentioned before, elevator speech handy. Hopefully you can maybe do like a split screen, or if you have multiple screens, just split screen on your laptop. We can actually have your elevator speech ready to go, and it's pretty much your cheat sheet when you're speaking with them online.
During the event, and I want to say that these are some quote unquote etiquette things to keep in mind, and not only in an online format, but also in an in-person format. You're going to remain professional and respectful throughout your chat. Use proper grammar. So a lot of times when you're doing it virtually, you might have to use a chat to communicate. And so you want to make sure when you communicate, written communication, that you are using proper grammar and that you are being mindful of the way you are spelling things and the way you are saying things. Being polite, as if it was in an in-person situation. Sometimes we may kind of get distracted by the fact that we're virtual. We may not keep those things in mind, but you want to keep them in mind as well. And then ask these type of questions, and we'll give you some examples of those for the end of the presentation. And you utilize a professional background. And like you can see, me and John Paul here, we are able to have a kind of professional background with our technology, fortunately. And if you're not able to, you can always create that background, meaning it could be a blank space behind you. Check behind you for things that may be distracting or may be distracting to the person that you're speaking with. So just some quick tips to keep in mind when you are in that virtual space. And then for this particular slide, we'll prepare your responses and questions beforehand. And this is something you would do even in an in-person setting. You want to be prepared for what you're going to say and how you want to approach what you're going to say. So when you are responding in a text form to the chat, you may want to make sure that you type out your introduction, just like offering a firm handshake, and you're kind of giving an introduction on what you want to say and have that ready to go when you get started. You're going to always state your name, of course. They know who you are. And you want to inform the recruiter of your status. So you want to let them know, your degree that you either graduated with or that you're pursuing, making sure that they know, if you're an alum or what, let them know when you graduated. And then also provide information about a couple of things that may include your accomplishments and strengths and skills that you have to contribute to the company. And these are things that we'll go into more in depth as we go through the presentation. You can have a better idea of what we mean by what we say.
Okay, so preparing your responses and questions, going a little bit more in depth here with examples. So these are some of the example questions you can have. Of course, you want to customize these to yourself. For instance, I've applied to this internship, to this job, have that job ID ready. Can you tell me what the ideal candidate might look like? It's a good qualifying question. Why did you choose to work here? And what do you like most about working here? Another good question. How would you describe the organizational culture? What excites you about the future with the company? This, you may even want to add something that you saw on their career site, or if Googled, maybe the company is growing or opened up a new location. You can add that in there to kind of show your knowledge. What are the most important characteristics or traits a person should possess to be successful in this role? That question, I would customize it to your own verbiage, the way you speak. You also, of course, don't want to come across as if you're reading something. So something similar to that would be, what kind of, instead of saying, what kind of traits, what kind of character, what kind of person are you looking for that is really successful in this role? Can you describe to me your team and your successes and challenges? What's working for them? Who do you consider your top competitor and why? This is a great question. Employers really like to open up, open-ended. Another good reason to ask that question is once you find the competitor, they might not be at the career fair, but now you have another company you can go look up and see what jobs they have. You may not want to mention that, but it's more opportunity. May I contact you if I have any questions? It's a great final question. A lot of times our employer partners would be more than happy to set up an additional email call with you one-on-one.
Employee interactions start with a good elevator pitch. And this kind of goes off of that idea of if you were in an elevator and you have 30 seconds to give your, you have this one chance to tell like this big high up corporate executive, something about yourself, and you want to make that a first impression, you want to make it a real good first impression, you want to practice this pitch, and you want to have it ready. And this quote kind of says here, it is often said that you only get one chance to make a first impression, so you want to make sure it's a good one. So we're going to go a little bit more into depth of what that means. So what is the elevator pitch? So an elevator pitch is a clear, brief message or commercial about you. It communicates who you are and what you offer, and most importantly, why they should hire you. It's typically about 30 seconds, and that's the time it takes. It might take someone to ride up an elevator, right? So this is something that we have utilized quite a bit with helping our students prepare for when they go to different conferences or they go to fairs. Having that short, message ready to go. And it's essentially your marketing message. What are you selling? What is your brand? And we'll talk a little bit about personal brand in a little bit too about that. I think it's really important to know your audience. Who is it that you are going to be speaking to? What is that pitch that you want to give? And what do you need to know for yourself so you can sell that brand, sell that your background, your experiences, and your accomplishments. You want to make sure that you take time to learn about who your audience is. So if it is Google, maybe you want to work for Google one day and you don't know much about their company. That's something that you may want to go and research up on. You can use LinkedIn as a really great tool for you to utilize to research a company. There's Glassdoor, and then also there's on the company websites in general. So there's a few places that you could find this information. You also want to find out who they are and how that is relevant to you. So I have met with students in my counseling appointments, and they want to work for a certain company or do a certain job. And I ask them questions about, why do they want to do that? What is the purpose behind that? What is their intention? What are they seeking? And sometimes it doesn't always align with what they say they want. And so I always will challenge them to make sure that whatever they're pursuing, whoever they're pursuing, that is relevant to them. Knowing you've done your homework will make you feel more confident. So I always would say that whatever you're bringing to the table, whether it's your resume, your cover letter, you and your elevator pitch, you will feel more confident in your materials and what you're pitching if you are doing your homework. And consider the following things. There are things to take into consideration when you are creating this pitch, when you are also creating your materials, your marketing materials, your documents. So what are your key strengths and positive qualities with respect to the position of interest? Why are you interested in this organization? What contributions can you make to them? And then what are your accomplishments? And sometimes we might not look at some of the things that we do or have done in respect to internships, volunteering, community service, campus involvement, or even your academic projects. Those are all things that you could touch upon that can be something that can be part of your pitch and part of your background and what you have to offer. So take into consideration all those things that represent who you are and what you have to offer.
Okay, so continuing with the elevator pitch development, actually identifying, creating what your brand is. What is a personal brand? It's all the key ingredients of your speech, your elevator speech, that also include your strengths, your skills, career highlights, and then what you want to do is tie it in to that employer's needs. What you know about their business, what skills that you bring into that position. So right in the middle of those two intersections is what your personal brand is. And of course, the most important part is an actual example. We discuss what the meaning of it all is, but here's an actual example. So, hi, my name is Cody Coyote, and I've always had a passion for cybersecurity. This was my drive for pursuing a degree in information systems and technology with a concentration in cybersecurity. I'm really interested in and then this is where you would name the job, internship job available at ABC company, which I recently applied to. I am achievement and detail oriented. I work extremely well in a team environment and have been a team leader on several of my class projects. May want to include an example. I am familiar with the latest technologies such as blank and blank. What those would be is something that's actually in the job description that they're looking for, and hopefully you actually have that qualification. I believe I would be a great fit for your internship/job. What advice would you give me regarding what it takes to be successful in this field? And then a little side note here, for an even stronger and targeted speech, add unique aspects of something that stood out to you from their mission statement, their site, Google, while you're chatting with them.
And here's another example. Hi, my name is Katie Coyote, and I'm currently working towards a degree in business administration. One of my greatest strengths is my ability to, and you'll fill in that piece there. I have also worked in the human resources field for 5 years. And during this time, I have become an expert in the areas of people management and technology. My supervisors and professors frequently commend me for being able to be a team player. I recently applied for the internship in your company, and I saw that many of my core skills that the job description is seeking such as being a team player and communication, are a great match with the education and qualifications that I possess. So again, we have that tip on the bottom there, but definitely you're going to make this work for you and fit to you. And you don't want it to sound rehearsed. You don't want to be reading off anything. But this is information that represents you. So the more you practice it, the more it will sound natural, and it will actually be a great way to sell yourself.
Okay, so leaving a good impression, the follow-up process, what does that look like? Once the event is over, preferably the same day, but you have at least 48 hours to go ahead and send an email. That's basically the new thank you note. You're not using snail mail. You're actually just shooting them over an email. If you don't have the contact information, you can always reach out to the Career Center advisor or the event coordinator, and I'm sure we can get the email for you, or at least forward the message to them. This is where you want to also highlight something that was key within that conversation that you had with that recruiter. That way they'll go ahead and have something to remember you by. LinkedIn, send a LinkedIn connection request. Very important though, only if your LinkedIn is complete and ready to go. If not, you might want to hold off on that, or it may be a good reminder to go ahead and work with someone to get your LinkedIn up to par. Connecting via LinkedIn is always great to show more details beyond your resume. Also, great opportunity to have a professional picture where they can actually put a face to the name, and also you can see who they're connected to as well, and now you're networking. And now that you have a contact at the company, following up on the application, hopefully you've applied before the event. If you're applying after, good 1 to 2 weeks after the career fair is a good time to reach out to that recruiter. Also, if it's any employer or recruiter that you may speak with at one of our events, you can always reach out to the Career Center to assist with that follow-up, because I can go ahead and have a direct connection with that recruiter and forward any emails as well.
Can I mention one thing real quick, John, before you move into the slide?
Yeah.
I just want to kind of get a sense of those who are attending today. And I apologize for asking this in the beginning. But what brought you to attend this workshop today? Why are you here today? And kind of give us a little bit of an idea of if you have attended a conference or a fair in the past. And go ahead and put that in the chat for those of you who would like to participate in that question. I'm just going to wait a couple minutes. I know we've had a lot of events on campus in the past. This is the first time that we're going to be launching a virtual event along with these workshops, of course. I don't see anybody putting anything in there yet, but I'm just curious to see what brought you here today. Are you looking for a job? Are you looking for an internship? Are you just wanting to know how to prepare, for the future? And if you shared it with everyone, I'm just going to read it out loud. I have never been to one of these meetings, but I have always been interested in attending. Great. It's another great way for you to get connected not only to the Career Center, but when you go to these events, you get connected to employers. I've never gone to a career fair or conference and would like to attend. Great. Yes, and this is a little information just to help you get you started. I'm going to show you a couple resources on our website afterwards, just to give you an idea of how you can access our resources and then what we have available for you. And we'll also show you where you can look up the events and Handshake as well. I personally have never attended an event, but wanted to look for a job and just wanted to feel more confident in what to expect. Yes, definitely attending these workshops and learning about this information is going to help you to be more prepared. Someone else said, I have attended many job fairs over the past 2 years. I thought this event would be good for me when I attend more while looking for a job. Yes, it's definitely going to help you. I think that if you attend anything and learn anything new that you're not aware of or that you don't feel familiar with, then it's going to help you in the long run for sure. Currently employed, but just looking at strategies for when I want to further my career. Never been to a job fair. Definitely a great time to put yourself out there and take these tools with you to feel confident about that. Someone else said, I'm graduating soon and I want to be prepared for upcoming conferences and land a great job. And I definitely think that, in the future, we'll be moving towards, going back to those in-person events, and there'll be a lot of opportunity out there for you all. I appreciate you all sharing that information with us. Give us a kind of a sense of where you're at and why you're here, and we really appreciate you attending our event today.
Okay. So best practices review. This is a little overview of everything we spoke about. Number one, checking out the career section of each company that you're interested in ahead of time. Uh, writing out everything, introduction, questions. You have the opportunity to cut and paste your questions, which is nice in the chat. Make it the least stressful that you can. You'll feel more confident. Have a strong keyword infused resume. What that means is when you go ahead and look at a job description, especially the qualifications that you need to have for that job, you want to go ahead and tie those words into your resume, tie it into your questions. Very much a value added proposition you have. Prepare sample conversation starter questions to maximize your time. That ties into your elevator pitch. Do not ask questions that are you're easily able to search for. This one we should have highlighted because it's probably one of the number one pet peeves of recruiters that I speak with. What positions do you have, or what do you do? It just really brings them down. We're doing weeks of marketing with these employers that they're going to be at this event, and then for us to show up and say, we don't know who you are, tell us who you are, it just really this takes the air out of the room. So always do your research beforehand. Visit the career fair virtual booths. So this is very specific to a type of virtual career fair, not the one that's coming up, but there's others that'll actually have booths that are very that are visible, such as like a career website for an employer. There you'll be able to usually click on it and see a list of jobs that they will be promoting. Also, you'll be able to keep checking out that page leading up to the event to see which employers have been added. So for instance, with the Zoom mini career fair that we're doing, what you'll want to do is check the career page, the event page on Handshake leading up to the event. So you'll see the employers that are going to be present as we start adding them and doing a little research on what jobs they have. And again, making sure your LinkedIn profile is up to date. This is a great opportunity to showcase that. Definitely, you can even potentially leave a LinkedIn link on your resume. You can always reach out to us to find out how to do that as well. And again, don't worry about using LinkedIn if you're not up to par yet. Just go ahead and save that for a later date because you do want to make sure you have everything filled out, including a professional picture.
Okay, so I'm going to dive into a few additional pieces of information for you all to be aware of when it comes to career services. And if you are able to let me share my screen, John, or maybe I have access. I wanted to pull this up so I can go into our website real quick. So career counseling, appointments, and I know I don't have you guys showing you on the side here, but I just want to show you this. So we have a career counseling appointments available right now via Zoom and by phone. So there's two options there, and these are all the topics that we covered during those appointments. And when you would like to go, if you want to go set one up, you can go into your employment opportunities in your My Coyote. So go to My Coyote, employment opportunities, and then you'll look for that little icon here. It's the handshake icon. It's the yellow little people that are yellow, the stick figures. And then we have, when you get into your profile, that's where you will be making your appointment. And then Handshake is where you'll also find a lot of our information on our events. And I'll go in there in a second to show you how to access that. This PowerPoint, I did send you the link into the chat so you can go to our website and download the PowerPoint. And I have active links in the PowerPoint for you. So go ahead and take a look at that when you get a chance. We also have drop-in services online via Zoom. These are 15-minute meetings. We have peer-to-peer educators there to help you with resume and cover letter reviews. Definitely something that you would want to take advantage of before you attend a fair, whether it's virtual or in person. You can ask questions about Handshake and Career Center services. And also we have a career counselor there to assist with other topics aside from resume and cover letter reviews. And those are Mondays and Wednesdays from 11 to 1, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4. And they are via Zoom. So here's the link to that and a link to our website regarding more information about these drop-ins. And then we also have resume and cover letter reviews via email. So you can email the Career Center at CSUSB.edu sent a Microsoft Word file, and through that file, we will be able to download it, give you some feedback on your document, and send it back to you. Usually 2 to 3 days after submission. So if you want to get those documents reviewed without having to have that one-on-one with us, which is fine, we can also do that. And then there's a link for that as well. Of course, we have 2 more workshops coming up. May 19th, what's next after graduation. If you are graduating, you definitely want to attend that one so you can get more information about what you can do to plan for life after college. And then we have career management. That piece kind of covers those next steps ahead of you. After you graduate, you're maybe in your first job, or you're in that career field now, and you kind of want some tips on how to keep your momentum going and what other things you would expect once you're out there in the world of work. Of course, then, I don't know if John, you want to touch on this one?
Sure. So as mentioned earlier, we're going to have a spring 2020 virtual career fair. It's really a mini career fair. We're looking to have about 7 to 10 employers, but it's going to be very personable. Again, it's going to be Zoom. You're going to listen to their PowerPoint presentation in depth about the company, about positions they have, and then you're also going to have a chance to schedule a one-on-one information session or interview for any positions that you might be interested in. It's going to be all day Thursday from 9 to 4. So once we have the official invite, which will be coming out very shortly, you actually see the breakout times of which employer, so you can attend live which event you want. You don't obviously have to log in all day long, but each session will be recorded, and so you'll have access to watch any recording for one that you might be interested in and maybe couldn't attend.
Okay, sorry. We also have this event, series of events going on here for spring. It's called Launch Your Career for graduating seniors. If you are not a graduating senior, you can still attend. We are targeting that audience, but we want to make sure that you are also aware that you can attend if you've already graduated or if you're not graduating yet. But we have 4 speakers that are going to be speaking at these virtual workshops / presentations. And it's just something for you to, we're really glad that we were able to bring alumni back. These are individuals who want to speak to you. They've been out in the field. They have a lot of things that they can share with you because of their experiences. Some of them are working in positions that you may want to work in one day, or that companies that you may want to work for one day. So definitely check it out. And I'll show you again in Handshake where you can access this information. But this is our Launch Your Career series that we have coming up. This is our survey. If you can give us feedback, that'd be great. Like I said, this is the PowerPoint available online. We're also going to be sending out a post email after this presentation with this link in it, so you can also access the QR code and the online link through that website. Through the email that you receive. And we really appreciate the feedback. It helps us to improve for future presentations. We'll do the Q&A now, just in case you have any questions that you just want to ask right now, and then we can go into, I can just briefly show you a couple of things if there are no questions. I don't see any questions that have come in yet. Does anyone have any questions?
You can also use the reactions button if you want us to unmute you. I believe you might even have the option to unmute as well if you want to verbally ask.
Yeah, I think they're able to unmute themselves. Well, I'll keep looking for in the chat for some questions that come up. In the meantime, let me go and show you a couple of things on our website, and then also with Handshake. Right. So it's www.csusb.edu/career-center. And on this page here, I'll go to the events first. So we have the events page in the top toolbar here, and you can see the different events that we have coming up listed here, and then we have all the flyers. So there's a lot of ways for you to learn about our events. So this is one way to do it without going into Handshake. You do not have to register for our events, but we recommend that you do. That way you'll get alerts and reminders when you do register. So we have a lot of things coming up, and there'll be more added as time goes on. So stay tuned for that. Also, if you receive a Handshake email from us, check it out. It might be one of the events listed in there and information about the event. So then another thing I want to show you, if you go to the Students/Alumni tab and you go to the right, there's career resources over here, and there's a lot of information for you that can be helpful with your this part of your career development. Right here is the Build Professional Connections. This one more so highlights the LinkedIn website, highlights ways in which you can network. I'm sorry, my taking a little long here. But some information that would be helpful for you is where can I meet professionals to connect with, and it gives you some ideas of places and where you can do that. And then right here, we have networking platforms. If you didn't know already, the Alumni Association, they have a mentoring program. So there are a lot of mentors out there who are alumni who want to give back and they want to connect with you. So please take advantage of that if you get a chance. There's a link to LinkedIn, which is the #1 networking platform out there online, highly used by recruiters, companies, and professionals out there. And then down here I have this handout. I thought it'd be really great for you to have access to it. It's our elevator pitch handout. You can use this to kind of prepare and practice. And there's some strategies here for networking as well. We have, if you want to learn more about LinkedIn and networking, there's a PowerPoint here. And then also there's a profile checklist if you want to work on creating your profile and making sure you have all the right components in that profile. There's a checklist that we have created here for you. Well, LinkedIn created it, but we've modified it a little bit and put it on our website. So we have that for you as well. And then one other thing I want to show you real quickly, because this is, I think, really important. You're going to have that resume and cover letter ready. You're always going to need it if you're applying for positions. You might also need it if you're going to graduate school. So I think making sure that your resume speaks to you and your experiences and makes you feel confident about what you have to offer. I think that definitely you want to work on that. Make sure you have that ready to go. And so these are a lot of our samples and tips and guides. We're also creating some major specific examples to give you an idea of some things that you may want to have on your resume and make sure that it's ready to go. There's some cover letter samples here, and also if you are creating the CV, and we also have some. I'm going to go into Handshake real quick. On our website, you can click on the Handshake there underneath the welcome, and my access into it is going to be a little different than yours. I'm on the back end, so you will go through your My Coyote. If you end up at this page, you can still click on students, click here if you were already logged in through your My Coyote previously. So you'll want to go to My Coyote first to activate your account. I'm just going to go into a student view just so I can show the platform and the way it looks like to you. So it should look something like this. And right at the top here, you see events. And as you can see right here, there was 26 students registered for our event day. So that's good. And I think almost everyone showed up. So that's great. And you'll see the events posted here for upcoming things that we have going on. And this is also where you're going to find that up there. Once we post that up, and you'll see the employers listed there that you may then want to see if you want to reach out to them, when you go to the fair, of course, and if there's some positions that you're interested in when you do go to the fair. And then right here, you can do a fair search. So if you have any fairs, you'll see them listed there too as well. And then over here, this one I just want to show you real quickly. If you didn't already know, this is a job search platform. So internships, jobs, volunteer positions, fellowships. There's a lot of positions in here, and you can use our site to also search for positions. And these are, if they're in our site, that means that the employers have sent out their request to have their positions posted to you as CSUSB students or alums. So take advantage of that. And if you need help with this search process and learning how to use this, please reach out to us. We can help you with that during an appointment. And then right here in the corner, you'll see, underneath Career Center, you click on Career Center, that's where you can make an appointment. So you go to the Career Center thing right here, click on Schedule an Appointment, and then you're able to make either an online appointment or phone appointment. And then just take yourself through the prompts and then make your appointment. So I just want to make sure you knew about that. I know there's a lot of students that don't. So I want to make sure that you had that information and that you knew how to access that. So I still don't see any questions. I don't know if anybody have any questions now. Thank you. I keep somebody saying thank you, thank you. Thank you for attending. Thank you, Arlena. appreciate that. I don't know if John, if you have anything extra or additional you want to add, or if Alexis, I know you're on here, if you want to add anything to the students to let them know of anything or any tips.
I'll add real quick another little insight to these virtual career fairs, since it's something that's going to be around. Even when we come back to campus, there's always going to be an aspect of some kind of virtual career fair and on campus. During these events, especially during the Q&A, we like to ask some additional questions to these recruiters to really find out what can give us that advantage in getting our resume to the top of the pile to getting that callback. So even if you're not 100% sure about a company, you don't think you're totally interested, I would still recommend registering for these events to get the recording. It's also good practice too for Q&A. Definitely take advantage of these opportunities. Again, you don't have to be on camera. It's just the more you practice, the more you'll be prepared for when that position that's meant for you comes along.
Yeah, I think that's great information for them to know about. Someone said here, I don't have any questions, but thank you for all the information you guys provided. I will definitely be joining another